All right, in 1.1, we're going to learn about algebraic expressions. So an algebraic expression kind of looks like this. It's like an equation, but it doesn't have an equal sign. So just think equation equals, but expression doesn't have an equal sign. So here's some vocab for an algebraic expression. We have a coefficient, which is the number in front of the variable, which brings us to our variable, which is usually a letter. It sometimes is n, sometimes it's x, y, a, b, whatever the problem wants to use. It's our variable. In the expressions that we're going to look at today, it'll tell us what value that variable is. So it'll say like n is equal to 2. And then we would just take 2 and plug it into n. In equations, we usually have to solve for the variable, but here it's just going to tell us what it is and we plug it in. Next, we have operations. Operations. An operation can be plus, minus, multiply, or divide. These are 4 basic operations. And then we have constants, which are just numbers without a variable. Any questions? All right, so today we're going to focus on our order of operations. So I'm sure you guys have heard of Pemdas before, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So it stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So multiplication and division kind of go together. It's like the same step. If you had just had multiplication and division in a problem, you would just work from left to right. And then addition and subtraction go together also. So if you just had addition and subtraction in a problem, you would just work from left to right. So you can evaluate an algebraic expression by replacing each variable with a number and then applying the order of operations. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to be replacing a variable with a number and then just following our order of operations. Any questions? All right, example 1. So we have to evaluate m plus p minus 1 squared if m is equal to 3 and p is equal to negative 4. So step 1 is plug in our variables. So we have m is equal to 3. That means 3 is going to go in the place of m. And we have p is negative 4. So negative 4 goes in the place of p. So we can rewrite our problem. We have 3 plus negative 4 minus 1 squared. Parentheses comes first. So we have negative 4 minus 1. What's negative 4 minus 1? Negative 5. Awesome. So 3 plus negative 5 squared. What should we do next? Exponents. So we have negative 5 squared. What's negative 5 squared? 25. A positive 25 or negative 25? Positive, because it's negative 5 squared. So it's negative 5 times negative 5. Negative times a negative would give you a positive. So positive 25. And then the last thing we have is 3 plus 25. What's 3 plus 25? 28. Awesome. Any questions? Ready for the next one? Example 2. Evaluate each expression if a is equal to negative 2, b is equal to 3, and c is equal to 4. So let's plug everything in. We have a is equal to negative 2. So we're going to plug in negative 2 for a. we have b is equal to 3, so we're going to plug in 3 for b. And c is equal to 4, so we plug in 4 for c. Then we can rewrite our problem. So we have negative 2 minus 2. I'm plugging in 3. I'm going to put it in parentheses just so I know that that number's what I'm plugging in and it's not a 23. And then I'm plugging in 4 also, so it's 3 and then 4. I'm going to put it in parentheses just so I know it's not a 34. What's happening between that 2 and 3? What operation? Multiplication. So multiplication's happening in here. And what about between the 3 and 4? Multiplication. Now, according to my Pemdas, what do I have to do first? Multiplication. What multiplication comes first? What?
The 2 and the 3.
2 and the 3, but what's special about that 2? It's negative. So what's negative 2 times 3? Negative 6. What can I do next? What am I doing with the 3 and the 4? Multiply. Negative 2 minus 6. What's 3 times 4? 12. What should I do next? Anybody? What do I do next?
Combine the 6 and the 2.
So it's negative 2 minus 6.
Negative 8.
Awesome. Negative 8 plus 12. And then what's negative 8 plus 12?
4.
4. Good work. Any questions here? Let's look at example 3. So again, I'm going to plug in negative 2 for A. And I'm going to plug in 3 for B. So this is 2 times negative 2 plus 3 plus 3 squared. What should I do first? Parentheses. Which parentheses? The second one. So I don't treat this as if it's parentheses. It's not my first operation, because what's going on between the 2 and negative 2? Multiplication. That's multiplication. There's no operation happening in that parentheses, so even though there are parentheses there, I don't treat it as if it's an operation with parentheses. So that's not what comes first. What comes first is this parentheses here. So I'm going to keep everything else the same. What's 3 plus 3? 6. So I have 6 squared. What comes next? Exponent. So 6 squared. What's 6 squared? 36. So I have 2 times negative 2 plus 36. What should I do next? Awesome. What's 2 times negative 2? Negative 4. So I have negative 4 plus 36. What's negative 4 plus 36? 32. Example 4. So first things first, we need to plug in A and B. So A is 5 and B is negative 3. So I have 5 plus, since I'm plugging in a negative number, I'm going to put it in parentheses just so I know that I'm plugging in a negative 3 squared times negative 3 minus 5. If you wanted to, everything you plug in, you can put parentheses around it, just so you know what number you're plugging in, but you don't need to. Sometimes it helps to see what you plug in, keeps things together, but you don't have to put parentheses around everything you plug in. All right, what should I do first here? parentheses. So I'm going to do negative 3 minus 5. What's negative 3 minus 5? Awesome, negative 8. So I have 5 plus negative 3 squared times negative 8. What should I do next? Exponent. So negative 3 squared. What's negative 3 squared? 9. So I'm going to do the exponent next. Is it a positive 9 or negative 9? Positive. Because a negative times a negative is positive. So negative 3 squared would be 9 times negative 8. What should I do next? Multiplication. What am I multiplying? 9 times negative 8. What's 9 times negative 8? Negative 72. So I have 5 plus negative 72. If I'm adding a negative number, what's another way that I could write this here? Plus a negative number. How can I write that a different way? Awesome. This is the same thing as saying 5 minus 72. So if you have plus a negative number, it's the same thing as minus. So what's 5 minus 72? Awesome. Negative 67. It's negative because the 72 is bigger than the 5, and that 72 is what has the minus. Example 5. What's the first thing we have to do? Plug them in. So we're going to plug in negative 4 for A and 5 for B. I'm just going to write everything. So I have 7 times negative 4 plus 4 plus 3 times 5 minus 8. All right, now Pemdas. What should I do first? Parentheses. Which parentheses? Negative 4 plus 4. What's negative 4 plus 4? 0. So this is 0. So I have 7 times 0 plus 3 times 5 minus 8. Now what should I do? Multiply what?
Both parentheses.
Right, so which one should I do first? When we have two multiplication things going on, we want to move from left to right.
Oh,
So what's the one on the left?
7 times 0.
And what's 7 times 0?
0.
0. What should I do next?
3 times 5, 13.
3 times 5, which is 15. Now what should I do?
Plus 0 plus 15, which is 15.
Awesome. 0 plus 15, which is 15.
And then 15 minus 8.
And what's 15 minus 8?
7.
7. Good job, guys. Last one. It's the fun one. So we're going to plug in 4 for W, negative 5 for Y, and 4 for W. So I have negative 3 times 4. Awesome, my pencil stopped working. Times negative 5 over 2 times 4. What operation do we do here? What's this big bar?
Division.
Division. So we have negative 3 times 4 times negative 5 divided by 2 times 4. What should we do first? Multiply what? Anybody? What are we multiplying first?
The negative 3.
Awesome. What's negative 3 times 4?
Negative 12.
Negative 12. We're doing negative 3 times 4 first. That gives us negative 12. What should we do next? Awesome. Positive 60 or negative 60? Perfect. Because a negative times a negative is a positive. So we're multiplying negative 12 times negative 5, and that gives us positive 60. Alright guys, what should we do next?
Multiply the 2 and the 4.
Awesome. Multiply the 2 and the 4. So 60 over, what's 2 times 4? 8. And then what should we do last?
I may be wrong, but do we get a mixed number?
Yeah, or you could leave it as a decimal. So what's 60 divided by 8?
Oh, I put it as a mixed number.
What do you have as a mixed number?
7 and 1/2.
7 and 1/2. What's it as a decimal? 7.5. Good job, guys. You did awesome today. One thing about example 6, whenever we have that big division in the middle, we treat the top as if it's in parentheses, and we treat the bottom as if it's in parentheses. So we do everything on the top first, get a number, then we do everything on the bottom next, get a number, and the last thing we do is divide the two. So you treat the top as if it's in one big parentheses and the bottom. So it's exactly what we did here. You guys did awesome. Any questions from the notes today? All right, from the homework, let's take a look at number 2. This one has a parentheses inside the parentheses. What's the first thing we should do for number 2? Anybody? Yes?
Do the parentheses.
Well, before we do that, what should we do?
Oh,
Plug in the numbers. So we're going to plug in 6 for x and negative 5 for z. So I have negative 5. 6 minus 6 minus 6.
Is that a z?
Yeah. Z is negative 5. All right, what should I do next?
The parentheses.
Which parentheses?
The one on the right.
So 6 minus 6. What's 6 minus 6?
0.
0. So I have negative 5 times 6 minus 0. So anytime I have a parentheses inside of a parentheses, I want to do the ones on the inside first. So I have negative 5 times 6 minus 0. What's 6 minus 0?
6.
6. So negative 5 times 6. And then what's negative 5 times 6? Do you know it?
Negative 30.
Negative 30. Awesome.